Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're in the kitchen today rigging some swordfish baits because it is pouring rain outside, and today we're going to show you how to rig a swordfish belly for swordfish. Let's jump in. So the first thing that we've done is we've cut out a strip out of our swordfish belly that you want to be able to fold over and make sure that you could sew that hook into place, right? And so we really thought about this. So swordfish skin is very tough. I think this is very durable, and we feel confident that we're going to be able to get a swordfish with this. I'll tell you, if your bait is presented well, we've caught swordfish even with artificial lures. So we feel confident this is going to do good, and we're going to give it a go tomorrow. But the first thing that you want to do is go ahead and set your hook in the bait so you get an idea of where your point is going to come out. And then you're going to go ahead and take your bait and you're going to stick your hook through it. Be very careful. These are very sharp hooks, that you don't capture your hand on the other side. When you go ahead and you slide your hook through. Okay, now the next thing that you want to do is you want to be able to secure your hook in place. So you need to go ahead and center your hook in your bait there, and you're going to go ahead and slide the ice pick through it. And what the ice pick is going to do is give you a hole for you to slide your leader. And we're using 300-pound Lindgren Pitman clear. We're going to go ahead and slide our aluminum sleeve in here. When you slide the ice pick out, you want to try not to move your bait so you could find the hole again easily. You're going to go ahead and stick that through. We're going to come over here and we're going to go ahead and pull this to where we're going to have our hook. Now that you've got that in place there, we're going to go ahead and come over here and get our crimpers. And you're going to go ahead and crimp this, guys. When we talk about this in every video where we're rigging and crimping, you want to make sure you're crimping this right in the middle, giving yourself enough space on each end so that your crimp doesn't start chafing your line. Now we went ahead and did that. We want to go ahead and stitch our hook in place. We like to do that so that our hook doesn't move around in the bait. We're going to go ahead and cut our rigging floss, and we're using 50-pound tacky wax rigging floss is what we like to use. We're going to go ahead and slide this in through our needle. We use a closed eye needle. We've talked about this in our other bait rigging videos, but if you haven't seen those, we like the closed eye needle because the eye is closed, just like the name suggests. And when you slide it through your bait, it doesn't get caught up on the bait, and we just feel like it's a lot easier to use the closed eye needle when you're pulling it through your bait. The open eye needle, we started using that, and we had a lot of issues as you're pulling it through. That eye starts to open up on the needle and keeps getting caught up inside the bait. So we prefer the closed eye needle when we're rigging our baits. So guys, when you're tying this knot here to tie your hook in place, you don't want it to be super tight because you want the bait to have its natural flow to it. If you alter it by stitching it too tight and you start curving your bait, then what's going to happen is that your bait is not going to swim correctly in the water, and it's going to cause you to not get bites and not catch fish, right? So your bait presentation has to be perfect. Okay, now we've got that in there and our hook is straight in the bait. Now we're going to go ahead and sew our bait together and go ahead and close this stomach cavity up. We're going to cut a pretty generous piece here of the rigging floss because you don't want to run out as you're going up and down your bait. You got to go all the way down the belly cavity and back up. You don't want to run out. So we're going to go ahead and make our first stitch here. Get your hook nice and straight to where it's going to be. I'm going to pull that through. This other end here, guys, is not going to move. That's going to stay there. And that's what you're going to do your finishing knot at the end when you come back up your bait. And guys, again, when you're doing these stitches, you do not want to pull real tight and change any of the natural flow of the bait, right? You want it to be nice and snug, but you don't want your bait to get altered and then it's going to be twisted. You're going to be doing these stitches and leaving yourself some space because you're going to come all the way back up the bait again, and you're going to alternate the holes where you stitch this through the first time, and you're going to come up through different holes. You guys, take your time when you're doing this. There's no points for doing this super fast. You want to make sure that your bait is perfectly sewn so that it's going to swim right, even if it takes you a little longer. In the end, what you want is your bait to be presented well and enticing for a swordfish to want to eat it. And you're not going to accomplish that if you rush through it and your bait presentation is not correct and your bait is not sewn correctly. So take your time, do it nice and slow. The last thing that you want is to spend all this money to go out there sword fishing. And here in Florida, I mean, we're very fortunate. We've got the Gulf Stream very close, but some of these guys in Texas, Louisiana, they're running 100 miles offshore just to go sword fishing. So you want it to be, you want your bait to be right. Now you're going to start coming back up the bait. Same way that you went down the bait, you're going to alternate them coming back up. Ooh, getting close here on this rigging floss. You're gonna make it, but it's gonna be a small piece, guys. This is what you don't want to have, is you don't want to run out as you're coming back up. And you're gonna get to the end. You're just gonna tie this shut here so that it doesn't unravel. This is the 4th or 5th bait that we've done. Hands are getting nice and juicy and slippery. Alright, so we've got this tied up here. You want to go ahead and trim this off. And then the next thing that you want to do, guys, is you want to go ahead and place your skirt over the bait. Okay? And before you go ahead and place your skirt over the bait, I would tell you, go ahead and lay down to where the skirt is going to lay and go ahead and trim your skirt so that it fits the bait well. We're going to go ahead and use this purple one. When we picked that out in the store, my son said, "Ooh, I really like this purple one." So we decided we're going to go ahead and give this purple one a go. We'll be fishing with this tomorrow. And he'll be on the boat with us, so hopefully this purple one that he picked out gets us a nice sword. When you're sliding your skirt on, guys, make sure all these little tentacle pieces are pulled down into the bait. Sometimes they get caught up in the leader there, and then you want to go ahead and give this a tug. I would tell you be very careful with the hook. You do not want to get this hook in your hand. Alright, so now you've got this sewn up, you've got your skirt on it, and the last step that you need to do is go ahead and run the stitch through your skirt, because what happens is if you don't do that, then your skirt could slide up your leader. And the last thing that you want, and we talk about this in all of our bait rigging videos because it's very important. I mean, to go out there, and sometimes, I mean, our last trip we were out there for 12 hours before we got our first bite. And you don't want to have a bite and that you lose that chance because something that went wrong and something that you didn't do correctly, right? And so what happens is when you're sword fishing is that these fish, and everybody says a swordfish bite, but they don't really bite it, right? What they're going to do is they're going to come and they're going to whack this thing with their bill. And what they're going to do when they whack it with their bill is that they stun it. That's the whole idea behind it. They thrash and they hit their prey so they could stun or kill it. And then when the bait is stunned or dead, they turn around and then they go ahead and swallow it. So what you don't want is to have this loose and then the swordfish come and they whack this thing and your skirt slides up your leader and you've got the swordfish attacking your skirt and he's super far away from your hook. And that is going to end well for the fish and not well for you as the angler trying to catch it. So guys, check this out. Here you go. We've got a beautifully rigged swordfish belly for swordfish. We're going to fish this tomorrow and we're going to let you know if swordfish are cannibals.